the level of Vayakel. How Vayakel has to do with the concept of Vayakel Moshe is called Das B'nai Yisrael. He's connecting it back to the idea of Yisisa Rosh B'nai Yisrael. It's about elevating and raising up all the sparks. So he started off by saying that the word Adas has in it three meanings. That it's from the word Da'as, knowledge, Da'as Elokei Avicha, that the first thing is the skashkus, the bond that a person has with Hashem through his bondness, through meditating in the greatness of Hashem. Another meaning is Eidus, and another meaning is the word Eida, congregation, the simple meaning of Adas B'nai Yisrael. And so we explained the idea of Das. Now we're holding by explaining the other two things, the idea of Eidus, witness, testimony, and the idea of Eida. So on line 11, fifth page of the copies, page test. So it says on line 11, after you have the idea of Das, and Das, he says, since it's about being miskasher with the Ein Sof, I need to do something to connect to the Ein Sof, and that is a part of Seichel. So the Seichel is shaykh to have in it a Yerida. Because it's possible to have in it a Yerida, therefore you need to have a Yakel, you need to gather the sparks, you need to bring together all the things that are possibly and could have potentially a Yerida and a descent, and you have to connect them with Hashem. Further he goes, line 11, afterwards comes out from this the meaning of Adas from the word Eidus, testimony. What do we know about testimony? Eidus in Halacha, in Torah, is no less than two, to such a degree that the Chazal derive that whenever the Torah refers, even in the word aid, in the singular, we know it's talking about the institution of testimony. And the institution of testimony must have two witnesses. What are the two witnesses referred to? In our context, these are the two attributes of kindness and severity, that they are derived from Das. The second meaning of Adas, which is from the word Deya, Eidus, comes from the first meaning from the word Das. Where did the Chesed Gvura, where did the two witnesses come from? Chesed Gvura, they come from the level of Das. Yeah, Das nechlok b'Chesed Gvura, because Das, as Kabbalah Chassidus brings down, is divided into Chesed and Gvura. Like it says that the reason why there's four parshas of Tefillin, four parshas of Tefillin has to do with four levels in Moichet, and four levels in intellect. Four levels in intellect, we know of three, Chachma Bina Das. Because Das is split into two, it has a Chesed and Gvura part to it, so therefore Das already is considered two. So you have four Moichet. So what does that mean in application to us? That from Das, it comes down to the level of Eidus, line 16. The idea behind it in the service of Hashem. Through setting his thought and taking it out and giving a strong connection in the greatness of the Ein Sof. So from that connection with the Ein Sof in his mind, the person comes to the love of Hashem and the awe of Hashem. And that doesn't just remain by something that's love and awe, but that translates into action as well. Therefore, he fulfills all the positive commandments, all the 248 mitzvahs. And he fears to transgress on his will. Like explained in Tanya, that love of Hashem is the root for all the 248 positive commandments. And the awe of Hashem is the root for all the 365 negative commandments. So that's the second tier, the second explanation. In Vayakel Moshe is called Das B'nai Yisrael. From Das, you get to Edus, you get to Chesed Gevura, but it's not just Chesed Gevura. Chesed Gevura, the way they impact all the mitzvahs. Chesed Gevura being the source of the mitzvahs. Further, the third meaning in Das, from the word, from Adas, from the word Ada, 22, from this comes down even lower. The explanation that Adas is from the word Ada. Ada means a congregation. The word Ada is not, whenever it uses the word Ada, the term Ada, it's no less than 10. It has to have a minimum of 10 Yidden. This is where we learn out about the idea of a minyan and so on. Comes from the fact that when we have the level of the kedusha, anything holy has to be in a level of Ada, and we know that Ada is 10 because it says by the Maraglim, at Mosai, La Ada Hara Azais, how long will it be to this wicked congregation, this wicked Ada? So we know Yeshua and Kalev were not part of the wickedness. So there was, out of the 12 Meraglim, only 10 were wicked. From that we derive that an Ada is 10. So top of page Yud, that 10 is the perfect perfect number, the completion of the number. Koilos column is part of it, includes all the numbers in it. Afterwards, any other number after 10 is not a unique and new number. We're just repeating the numbers. There's no new number. 11 is 2 ones. 346 is 10 times the 4 and 100 times the 3. So it's only a repetition of the same numbers again and again. So what are original numbers? The original numbers are just 10. It draws down and it permeates in all your heart and all your soul. That this permeates all the 10 soul powers of a Yid. All of this that we spoke about before, the Das, which is Yiska Daita B'chayzik, that he has a strong connection with the Ein Sof and identifies. And the next thing is that he has the Eidus. He has the love and awe and the fulfillment of mitzvahs is something, all of this is in a way that permeates all of his 10 soul powers. That's why it also uses Bechinas Eser Geda, where it talks about Machza Shekel, it speaks about the 10 Geda. Instead of, why do we have to even talk about the 10 Geda and so on? Because that it permeates those 10 Kochs HaNefesh, the 10 Geda is referring to the Eser Kochs HaNefesh. It also permeates the 3 garments of thought, speech, and deed. So now getting back to the puzzle of next week's parsha, by Yaakov Moshe, it's called Adas B'nai Yisrael, that Moshe gathered and collected the whole entire congregation of the Bnei Yisrael, the Adas, all the 3 levels of Adas. One is Das, the knowledge and connection with Hashem, with Ein Sof. The second thing is Chesed Gevura. The third thing is Be'eser Kochs HaNefesh, the 10 soul powers. While in the Vayakel, Moshe Rabbeinu affected the gathering, the sparks, and the elevation. So now he's going to bring it back to our topic about the Machzas HaShekel, Oizdal. In a close, in the Vayakel, Kosher Gam Machzas HaShekel, general idea of Vayakel is also connected with the half a shekel. The 2 halves of the shekel is also referring to the Yidden and Hashem. We are considered like 2 halves of one whole. In Isa Medrash, like it's brought down in Medrash, that there is an expression, Tamosi, brought down in Shir HaShirim, one of the descriptions, that the Yidden are called as Tamosi, my whole one, my complete one. What does the Medrash explain? What does it mean, Tamosi? It says, Hip umasu, my twin or my second half. Nesti Yisrael he to umasu shal Baruch Hu. The Jewish people are the twin of Hashem. Moshe bir harav magid al pasuk. Like Mizrich Magid explains on the pasuk, Moshe Rabbeinu had to make shtei chatzotzros kesef, two silver trumpets. So the Mizrich Magid divides the word chatzotzros. It says it can be read shem shtei chatzotzuros. That could be read that there are two half forms. What does that mean? Shekoy al odom elyon v'odom atach, referring to supernal man, in other words Hashem, and a yid down here. Shekol echad mehem hu chatzi tzura bilvad. Each one of these two halves is supernal man, and man down here is considered only a half a form. But the person down here below is only a half a form. So that's not so difficult to digest. We are only half without Hashem, totally fine with that. But the Gam Adam Elyon Kiviyachol Eine Tzura Shlema. And also, metaphorically speaking, as if we could say that even the supernal man, even Kaviyachol the Eibishter, is incomplete, is not a complete form without us. Amnam Yistapku Yachad, when they become joined and they cleave together, Nasa Tzura Shlema, it becomes a one complete and whole entity and a whole form. This is why the Yid are called the beloved, the Kala, etc. of Hashem. The Dugmas Isha, similar to a husband and wife. Calls man should call echad behem ula atzmei adayin, as long as each one is separate before they get married. Areu klag gufa, each one is considered a half a body. The husband before he's married is a half a body. Wife before she's married, she's considered a half a body. They are incomplete without each other desires. And through their union, they become one entire body, one entire entity. Like it says, they will become as one flesh. And so, in a similar vein, we are called Rayasi of Hashem. We are called the beloved, the Kala of Hashem. And each one of us is a half and incomplete without Hashem. That's the union of the two half shekels. Both of them together become a complete shekel. That we become us and Hashem, it complete each other. That's also the idea that Moshe collected and gathered the whole Adas Bnei Yisrael, Shemakilas on the Tzaitzis to Yisrael, that he collects and gathers the sparks of the Yidden, and he joins them with the roots, like we said before. Concerning this, it says, Isisa es roish b'nei Yisrael, when you will raise the head of the b'nei Yisrael. In the Vayakel b'negel l'chol ha'pchinas ha'miskaras le'el, top of page Yural. The idea of Vayak concerning all the levels that we mentioned before, Sheba Adas. That's in the level of Adas. Both the knowledge of Hashem, the joining with Hashem, and the midas of Chesed Gvura Eidos, and the level of Eido, which is the Ten Kochos HaNefesh. That gathering together is as a result of the head of the neshama. Therefore, through prefacing the saying, you will raise the head. We affect the union of all the disparate parts. Vayakil b'chinas das, adas meloshin das. That his level of das becomes joined with Ein Sof. The Gamish the Hamidus, the Chesed Gvura, that also becomes the joining and the gathering together of the emotions of Chesed Gvura, Shazel, and Eidos. That's the testimony. Adas, Meloshin, Eidos, like we said before. And that becomes the unity and the collection and the gathering in all the 10 soul powers. Shazel, and Eidos, that's the idea of a congregation. Adas Meloshin Eidim. Zelva Yaakov Moshe is called Adas Bnei Yisrael. That's what it means that Moshe gathered and collected the whole Adas Bnei Yisrael. After, through the sin of the golden calf. there became the scattering of the sparks, like we mentioned earlier in the Maimer. Paul Moshe Moshe affected that should be the union of them. Until he drew down this idea down here below. And that's the command of the work of the Mishkan, that he was commanded to do this type of work. It's the idea that will dwell amongst them. Within each and every one, we have this level of the dwelling and the drawing down of this yichud. Through the building of the Mishkan within each and every one. We merit to the building of the third base of Migdash, the Migdash Mishkan. The Migdash is also called the Mishkan. So when it says Mishkan, Migdash, it's referring to the Mishkan and back. The true and complete redemption through Mashiach. Any questions before we go on?